Gravitas is our second EP. It follows on from our first, which was called Notions, and it came out of the personal and wider circumstances roughly before and during the pandemic. I dug back into family roots and tapped into some old ancestral history to get the badly needed perspective during all that. Because although we still have our heavy hard rock side, there was a strong pull to do something a bit more acoustic and intimate this time. I wrote most of the songs here at home and in West Cork, but when they were ready to record, it was impossible to get studio bookings anywhere after the lockdowns, because everyone and their dog was recording while live tours weren't happening yet. So the idea came up to record in Baltimore Castle because of my ancestral connection to the pirate Finian the Rover, who ran his band of rascals from that spot. And having spent so much of my childhood in that part of the world and having family around there and all the rest, it added a deep historical note to the return to roots that the last few years had led towards. Baltimore Castle is a phenomenal place, right on the Atlantic, and you can feel that the place has history in its walls. I really like that it's not some sprawling, opulent palace dripping in self-importance either, but it's an actual functional pirate's castle that we had the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to record this music in. Dirty Power has always had a slowly revolving cast of members, and with it being impossible to plan travel during the lockdowns for the recent London-based crew to step in, I couldn't wait to link up with some musicians in Dublin when things lifted. Ben Wonders, who had recently recorded The Scratch, was going to be mixing these new songs of ours. He suggested Dónal on drums, who was the easiest choice ever. He was big into Brad Wilk and Dave Grohl, was well able for it, and he was all over it from the get-go, so that was that. Then Dónal recommended Noel on bass, someone he locked in with really well, so there'd be no rhythm section teething problems, and rehearsals proved that very quickly. Noel had all the gear, all the groove and all the skills, so he was great to jump on board, and that was a done deal. Band assembled. Once I talked the very welcoming current castle owners into letting us record full-on rock and metal drums and guitar amps and all the rest in the castle they actually live in, together with their parrot, I had to find someone willing and able to actually record us. All the local studios were busy or didn't have the mobile gear to track outside of their own places. So it was amazing when Tommy replied to a post I made online saying he was a recording engineer for RTE and had recorded a band in another castle not long ago with all his own gear. So that was another problem solved. So he made the whole thing possible. He put everyone at ease with his unwavering patience, and he was a great man to join for a few drinks at the end of the day while everyone else was asleep. Then we had Dom coming from Limerick to film it all. I did my best to warn him about the perils of driving all the way to West Cork, but he was having none of it. He showed up with an arsenal of lights and cameras with him. The man is a one-man army, and thanks to him we were able to capture so much of the session visually in the way I was hoping for. We also had loads of help from friends and musicians around West Cork, in Bantry, Schull, Glengarriff and Lepp, in getting all the gear in and out and making sure we could source any missing bits and pieces as we went. And that made a huge difference, especially when I was doing guitar overdubs and extra vocal tracking. My cousins who make Clonakilty whiskey near there were also very good to us in keeping the whole castle stocked and inspired at every step of the way. That went down very well and got us over the line when things ran very late. Next I got together with Ben Wonders in his Wonderland studio in Limerick to add some more guitar and put the final touches on the mixes. He really got what we were going for in a balance between unplugged sort of sounds while still keeping our heavier side. He got some great results out of those castle tracks and tied everything together so nicely that I poured some whiskey into him as well and then sent it all off to Aidan Cunningham for mastering. Aidan really took everything up a notch again. We had done some back and forth as I listened in cars, on headphones and on stereos. Every different setup I could get a hold of to make sure it sounded as good as could be on any of them. And that was that. It proved everything had come together and Dirty Power's Gravitas EP was ready. From the first notions of these songs to the demos, the rehearsals, recording and filming, it had all taken far longer than I could have imagined and more help along the way from more people than I could have predicted. But I'm glad I gave these songs the patience they seem to need to make them the absolute best they could be, because this whole EP is just that, the best we could make it. So I can't wait for people to hear it, and I'm really looking forward to playing these songs live.